People have a certain way of doing things. There's only one way to do it right. I've never been one for doing things the right way. This week, I'm patching those holes in the back of my van. And I'm going to do it my way. And you know what? Most of the time when I do things my way, I usually figure out how to make it work. I've already had several people tell me the only way to patch these holes is to weld these things together. That doesn't need to be done that way. You can just do a patch panel with pop rivets, something well within my skill level. Yeah, it's going to take some drilling and things like that, and make sure I don't drill through anything important underneath, of course. But we'll get this done. It will work. And we'll have patches on here, and this will be sealed up, and we can start building a floor. So the first thing I'm going to do is verify the measurements here of the panels I need. Last time I measured it, I figured it should be 12 inches wide by 18 inches this way. So let's see. 18, yeah. That'll be more than enough. Put that out to here. And 12. Yep, no problems there either. Okay, other side. Same thing. 18, yep. Plenty big enough. And 12. Yep, no problems. Okay. 12 by 18. So excuse my messy yard. Kind of just threw everything out here for the winter. So don't mind that, but this is the metal I'm going to be using. This is 18 gauge galvanized steel. It was sitting in my basement, so it's paid for already. I like paid for. So also turns out that it's 19 inches wide. So I said I needed two pieces 12 inches by 18 inches. So I'm just going to do a cut this way 12 inches and just use it at 19. So it's going to be 12 by 19 instead. You can always have it a little bit bigger as long as it's not a little bit smaller. So we're going to get this ready to be marked and cut. Alright, there's the line I need to cut. We'll get the tape measure, verify the measurements here, and we'll get this clamped down and ready to be cut. Let's see, yep, 12 inches, right on the money. Perfect. And just under 19, so this is really just the right size, and we'll do a second piece just like it. Now the big question is, will I actually be able to cut this in a straight line? Will I even be able to cut it? Let's find out. So, as a reminder, this is not a how-to channel. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm guessing as I go here. Do not follow my instructions. Follow this disclaimer. But this is the tool I'm going to try to use. I don't know if this is going to work. Maybe too much bounce in this setup here. I don't know yet. And this may not be suitable for cutting 18 gauge galvanized sheet metal. So, we're going to find out. It should make a lot of noise too, so I'm going to need better eye protection and ear protection. Grinding wheel got smaller. Starting to work. I need more grinding wheel. Alright. Unplug the tool. Nobody said I can cut in a straight line either. Oh well. Not the right tool for the job. Oh boy. Alright, so this is the size of a fresh blade. See how small it is when it's done. And there's still quite a bit of blade left this time. And here's our piece of metal. Not the best cutting job ever, but it will work. Okay, so here's the patch panels. Fully cut out, ready to go here. Did some marking yesterday. Marked off where the body mount bolts are. So, if it lines up to those spots there, the body mount bolt will stick through there because we're going to drill a hole through it now. So that's the next task. So I stopped at my favorite hardware store, Rounds Hardware, and picked up a hole saw today. So this will help me get that spot drilled there for the body mount bolt heads to stick up. So let's see if we can make this actually work. That didn't go right. That didn't go right. I don't know if you saw what happened, but I managed to bend the drill bit. So when I went in there, the drill bit made the hole first, and then when the hole saw came in contact with the metal, the drill jumped in my hand and I bent the drill bit. So I had to go back to Rounds Hardware and get another one. So, so I gotta try not to do that this time. Nice and slow. Now let's go find out if that will actually fit in the spot that I've intended it to fit. Alright. Bolt certainly fits nicely. Yeah, that's good. Hold on, set the camera down here for a moment. Okay, don't go where I want it, but that's okay. That'll work. Here you go. That'll fit just fine. Right, so I cleaned the metal, sanded it down with the angle grinder with the wire brush on it, and now I'm going to paint it. Since it's galvanized steel, I picked up some cold galvanizing compound. So we're going to recoat it with this before we install it in the van. So here's what the panels look like now for the underside. They're clean, they're painted, they're ready to go down. I haven't done the other side yet. I'll do that after I install them, once I get all the rivets in and everything. But they're ready to be installed. So that's the next task. This should be interesting. I got my new riveting tool. I got my drill ready. Lots of rivets. And I've got construction adhesive. I'm going to put a liberal amount of construction adhesive right along all these seams. I can get the stuff to actually come out of the tube. There. Ooh, look at that. Patch panels are just about done. Yes, I'm out here at about, what time is it? I don't even know what time it is. Let's see. About 8 o'clock at night, 8 p.m. So, I've got limited light here, so I'm running the external light on the camera right now. But patch panels are pretty well finished here. Got them pop riveted in. I do want to add some seal around the body mount bolts. Probably add some caulking along the edges here just to keep any moisture from getting in. But overall, this is pretty well ready to go. So now let's talk about what happened in the last couple days. We had a little bit of a mishap when I was working on the floor patch panels. So, as you know, I decided to go the route of pop rivets and construction adhesive, as you saw on the video, not doing the welding approach. And, well, I was putting the first patch panel in yesterday, and unfortunately I wasn't recording video at the time. I wish I was. It would have made some interesting content, but I was drilling the holes and putting in the pop rivets. I got the first 2 pop rivets in, no problem. And I started drilling the 3rd hole out to get that 3rd pop rivet in. When I pulled the drill out, a little fountain of green fluid started coming up out of the floor. I nicked one of the coolant lines that goes to the rear heating and AC unit. So I had radiator fluid coming up into my van. Good job, Wolf. Yeah, so I had to make some emergency adjustments to the van's configuration. Well, first thing I did, thankfully it didn't start draining the whole coolant system out. That's the good news. It just seemed to drain what was in the lines to the rear heater, and then it stopped. So I went out and asked my mechanic about it, and he basically said the best way to repair those lines would be to replace them, and it's probably not worth the cost. He told me to just bypass it. So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up actually pulling the doghouse off the front of the van there, getting at the engine compartment, cutting the rubber hoses, and then attaching them to each other. So I basically bypassed the whole the rear heat line, and just set the lines up so they go one into the other. I actually first went down to AutoZone to try to ask them for some help, see if they had any parts, and they had no clue. So I did a little research online and found out it was a 5/8 inch inside diameter on those rubber hoses. So I went down to Home Depot instead and found a little, I don't even know what they're called. It's designed to connect 2 rubber hoses together, hose splicer or whatever. But basically 2 barbed fittings to fit 2 hoses together and a couple of hose clamps. And I just cut the rubber hoses and attached them together and totally bypassed the rear heating system. So, with all that in mind, given the fact that it's going to cost a fair amount of money to repair the damage I've done now, good job, Wolf. I have made the decision. I am now removing the rear heating unit. I was going to keep it, but now I'm going to remove it. So actually it'll have lots of advantages, because there's a few conundrums in the setup that that rear heating unit was going to cause. Just would have something that just preheat the camping area while I'm driving, because I can't use it once I'm there. First of all, as you had seen in an earlier video, I tried to fit that propane furnace in there, and it bumped right into the rear heating unit and didn't fit where I wanted it quite right. I was going to have to fabricate something to extend the exhaust pipe out. I take the rear heating unit out, it fits perfectly. The rear heating unit was also pushing the bed further out into the van there, about 4 or 5 inches from where I wanted it, so now I'll be able to push that right up against the wall. And let's see, I also don't have to deal with all the complicated ducting to reroute all the outputs for the heat and air conditioning lines on it. So be a few advantages to doing this, so I'm looking forward to that. The heating part's already bypassed, but the air conditioning line is not. The air conditioning system in the van doesn't work. It leaks the coolant out, or the refrigerant out. So hopefully there isn't too much in the lines, but I'm probably still going to drop the van off at the shop and have them make sure there's nothing in the lines. But then there's this little area under the engine, or inside the engine compartment. It's a little difficult to reach, that has the couplings that I need to disconnect on the lines going to the back and then put block-offs in there. So that's part of the project I'm going to be working on. Block-offs aren't even the best way to do it. I'm told after a while oil will pool inside those block-offs, and eventually it will starve the compressor and the air conditioning system from the oil it needs, and it will eventually fail. But it's about the only option I have at the moment. And I want to do this while the air conditioning system is still down and out. So I have to reach into that little tight spot, which is probably going to require me crawling under the van to get at it, and disconnect the lines. I'm going to need a removal tool to figure out how to get those spring-loaded connectors off. And then I got to get some block-off caps for it and put them on it. So that's going to be another project I'll be working on. So fun things coming up here. And I got to get that unit out of the back here before I put the floor down. So that's another bit of a challenge here. So that's what we're working on here. So I think this is the end of this video. We did quite a bit here. We got those patch panels installed. That was a big task, and that's done now. One big step closer to having the floor in, which we really need to do. We got still a little over a month to go. Today was a good day to work though, because the temperature touched 70. So I got all the final pieces of it done today. So I'm glad. So tomorrow night we're supposed to be getting another big snowstorm coming in here. 6 to 8 inches of snow by Friday morning. And so we're going to go from 70s to snow in just a couple days. Right now the temperature's already back down into the 30s. So anyway, as I said, we're ending the video here. So appreciate everybody watching. And remember, slow down and enjoy life. And we'll talk to everybody later.